Well, hello YouTube. How you guys doing? Jared Fuller here. Today is Sunday, February 16, 2020. So glad you could join me for another installment of the Sunday video update. Amy's in the bedroom. Dad's still asleep. I'm sure he'll be awake any moment after he hears my voice or my big mouth flapping. I hope you all had a wonderful week. I hope you all had a wonderful and lovely Valentine's Day. Of course, me being single really didn't happen. I didn't have a Valentine. I didn't have a girl to wine and dine or to buy flowers or candy for, so I just stayed home, which works out too. I hope you all had a good Valentine's Day. Dad and Amy, they stayed home. Kind of hard to do when you don't have money to go anywhere or do anything. So what I did was, on Valentine's Day, I put together a little dinner that it was just a dinner idea that I had in mind. I took some egg noodles, boiled them, added garlic powder, butter, stirred it up real good. Then I added, I had another pan, and I added 4 cans of beef vegetable soup, vegetable beef soup, and I let it simmer, and I stirred it every so often, so it wouldn't stick to the pan. And then I added a pound of hamburger. In another pan, I fried up some hamburger, and I just threw it all together, see how it would come out. It wasn't too bad, actually. The noodles, and Amy would agree, the noodles actually taste pretty good on their own. Just the garlic powder and the butter, and, just to eat them like that. First time trying it, it's just something I threw together. Didn't turn out bad, so I didn't get any complaints. There were a couple things I wanted to discuss, other than Valentine's Day, of course. Yesterday was my Uncle Rick's, would have been 66th birthday. He passed away last March. And it's been rough on us, and we miss my Uncle Rick dearly. And we had a friend who passed away on Valentine's Day at the age of 74. He was a good friend of ours from the Back 40 Bar and Grill. His name was Jerry Brown. And our love and condolences go out to Jerry's family, and we're definitely going to miss the guy. He was just a funny guy to be around. He loved his whiskey. He loved playing Club Keno, and he was just a funny guy. He was a funny guy, and I'm going to miss him. It's one of those things, here today, gone tomorrow. So you got to cherish every moment you have, and make the best out of every day, every second you have. Try to make the very best of the time and the moments that you get to cherish and share with your friends and family, because tomorrow is not a guarantee. So something to keep in mind. There was something else big that I wanted to discuss. I'll get to that in a minute. I don't know if Dad's going to wake up here in a little bit or not. Either way, it doesn't matter. If he gets up in the middle of the video, he gets up in the middle of the video. It doesn't matter. So this was something that I did mention kind of briefly in last week's Sunday video, but it regards a nonprofit organization, and I didn't really. I talked about it briefly. I touched on it briefly, but I didn't get into great detail. In fear that I would cause a rift, or that I would lose my friends over this, because a lot of my friends support this nonprofit organization, and I didn't really get into great detail, although somebody from Facebook or Twitter, wherever my videos are being shared, because my Sunday videos are constantly being shared, and like monkey see, monkey do people, if you're told to block me on Messenger or elsewhere, well, okay, you got to do what you're told, because your shepherd is giving you an order, instead of coming to me and finding out firsthand, or getting both sides of a story. So, there is a nonprofit organization that like I said, I touched on it briefly last week. And I was contemplating, do I want to actually give a name, because I know there's lots of people who watch my videos for better or for worse. They watch my videos, or they listen to me speak to get some insight on what's going on, or they watch my videos long enough to, oh, he said something that we could potentially use against him, so we're going to share it on Facebook. Either way, thanks for the views. But there is a nonprofit organization called FAM, Fighting All Monsters. And now I've never in my life had any direct connection with FAM. But it was brought to my attention last week, which is why, like I said, I didn't really get into detail about it. But it was brought to my attention that this nonprofit organization is engaging in shady business practices. And I was contemplating all week long, do I want to mention the name? Do I want to put names out there? And maybe I should, just to be safe, because you never know about people anymore. I mean, quite frankly, people have mixed emotions about me, and I'm just I'm a one-man rock band. I'm all on my own, I don't have any direct connections or ties with any nonprofit organizations. I don't have a nonprofit organization myself. So any kind of contribution has always come straight from my pocket and, of course, straight from my heart. But there is a nonprofit organization out there. It's called FAM, Fighting All Monsters. And before I continue on, this is not to belittle, to bully, badger, or harass, or do anything that's going to hurt somebody else. But it was brought to my attention that the founder, the CEO of FAM, goes by the name of Milk Tyson. He is purportedly, he's using FAM to fund his lifestyle. At least that's what I keep seeing in Messenger all the time, that he's allegedly using FAM to fund his lifestyle. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't know. I've never been gifted by FAM. I've never received any kind of anything from FAM or Milk Tyson himself. So I just want to make that known to everybody. I had no direct affiliation with FAM whatsoever. I believe I may have spoken to Milk Tyson one time in an email, and that was years ago, but I'm not even convinced it was actually Milk. It might have been someone who was in charge of his email, and so I never actually got to speak directly to him. Now, I'm not here to say that Milk is guilty. I'm not here to say that Milk is innocent. I'm just here to say that this was brought to my attention, and people are making all kinds of claims about, and these are families who were allegedly helped by FAM. There's been reports where families have not received the full amount of what FAM had gifted them with, because I guess around Christmas time, FAM was giving money away to families. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. And not all of the families, not everybody received the full amount of what they were supposed to have received. And utilities were shut off. Cars weren't being fueled up. And a lot of promises had been broken. And that's what, according to the screenshots that I've received. I'm not putting names out there of people who sent me the screenshots. But I am aware of the situation, and like I said, if you have evidence of wrongdoing, and again, I'm not defending him, I'm not going to bully him, I'm not giving any position, I have no stake in any of this, but if you have actual evidence where Milk Tyson has done wrong, then I encourage you, if you haven't done it already, I encourage you to report it to the Internal Revenue Service if, in fact, there's some kind of a fraudulent, something going on here. I encourage you to report it. But, again, getting on Facebook and just saying it without actually proving it, that's kind of a different story. I mean, you make a claim, you have to have evidence to confirm the claim that you're trying to make, and I go over this seemingly ad nauseum every Sunday. Now, again, like I said, I have no direct connection with FAM. I've never been gifted by FAM. I don't know how true any of this is, and I'm not saying that it is true, that the allegations are true. I'm saying that there are, in fact, allegations. It's true that I've received allegations about this Milk Tyson guy, which I'm assuming Milk Tyson isn't even his real name. But I will give him credit. You know, I give credit where it's due. Okay, he got the kids to dance in videos for, I'm assuming was supposed to be for Diddy. Okay, he got the kids to dance. That's great. It had taken their mind off their treatment, which is fine. You know, I'm not belittling him for that. I'm not belittling the videos. I'm not going to put that down because, you know, Mike Tyson had an angle. He ran with it, and you know, he got the kids to dance, which is cool, you know. So I'll give credit where it's due. He got the kids to dance. However, with all of this coming, I mean, it was brought to my attention, and it was actually brought to my attention last week, but I was contemplating even putting names out there of the nonprofit organization or the person in charge of it. But this week I decided, what the hell, I'm going to go through with it. But if you have evidence of any kind where he's actually being fraudulent, then, you know, of course, I would hope that you would submit that evidence to the proper authorities. That would, you know, being the IRS or the police or anybody who's in a position of authoritarian power, and seek some comeuppance for his wrongdoing, because it's serious stuff. And I would only hope that none of this is true. I mean, we got to have people out there who, if your heart's in the right place and you want to help people, that's fine, that's great. I don't shun people for doing what they should be doing, and there's all kinds of confusion about that. People often look at it as, oh, Jared he ridicules everybody and anybody who's doing good in the world. I actually don't. I encourage people to help other people. I encourage people to pay it forward every time, all the time. But we're talking about an instance or an example, again, because this is the second person I know who was indirectly affected, and the only I would say disagreement that I would have in regards to this Mike Tyson person is the fact that he has preyed on the weak and the vulnerable to make himself look like a hero, to champion himself in some way or another, to make himself look good. And every time I put this into the realm of things, every time I try to introduce this to people, they get pissed at me because, oh, Jared's just trying to cause a rift. No, I'm not. People act in a certain way, and I'm the commentator. I'm saying, this is what he's doing, or this is what she is doing. I'm not painting a bad picture of anybody. They are presenting themselves in a way where I would perceive it as such, or how anybody else could easily perceive it. You do have people out there who prey on the weak and the vulnerable. And it is so beyond vexatious that I just can't look at my phone for a majority of the day, because I get these constant messages and screenshots of, you know, this is what he's doing and this what, you know, I don't care. But I do care when people who are indirectly affected by this are attaching and lashing themselves onto a cause when they have no direct personal, visceral appeal to the cause. It's okay to feel sad for people, of course, absolutely. You're human. You have a heart. You feel bad. You want to do something. You want to make a difference. You want to bring change. That's wonderful. But when you're indirectly affected by this, when you're not a parent of a cancer kid, and when you are not a child of cancer survivor yourself, with those two premises, it's easy to narrow it down to one question. What are you doing here? And now all of these allegations have flourished into fruition, and I'm not yay or nay. I'm not here nor there. You know, like, oh, Jared believes it or Jared doesn't believe it. I'm not giving my position. I always encourage people to go where the evidence leads. And again, if you do have evidence of wrongdoing from Mike Tyson or this Fam Fighting All Monsters group, I encourage you, if you haven't done so already, to submit the evidence to the proper authorities. You know, You got to do what you got to do, and you have to do it for the kids, because the kids, they are the reason why so many of us continue to carry on with this. They're the reason that we continue to make an effort, to make an attempt to keep childhood cancer awareness alive, to make sure that our stories are constantly being heard, that nobody's ever going to forget about them. In March, I'm coming up on the 31st anniversary of my diagnosis with Wilms tumor, and I always want to make sure that my story in some way, somehow, doesn't get swept under the rug. Because me as a person, myself, I've been swept under the rug and written off as some bad guy, which is shitty, but what can I do? I can just go on being the same person I've always been, and to show people that anything you had against me or any way you felt against me is incorrect. And I'm out here doing what I can do to help other people, and I haven't given up, not completely. I just don't consider myself as an advocate anymore, because I see how a lot of these advocates behave openly and publicly. They just want to be the top dog and everything all the time. But that's my take on that. I was aware of FAM last week. I wasn't sure if I wanted to mention a name, because there's a lot of friends that I still talk to, and they have connections with FAM. They support FAM. They're probably friends with Milk Tyson. And I'm sure Milk Tyson is a good guy. I'm sure at some point, somewhere in his heart, he probably meant well, and he probably just went about it the wrong way, which is something that usually happens. I'm not making excuses for the guy, and I'm not defending him, but that might have been the case. It might not have been the case. I don't know. It was even brought to my attention that he mentioned something about emails. Like, someone sent me a screenshot about a post he had made about, what was your first email address? Kind of a way to get people to share their email addresses so he can write them all down, or at least that's what that person tried to get me to see. I don't know. I can't prove that. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, that's what he does. No, I don't know what he does. I'm not familiar with anything he does, other than I know that he's the CEO and the founder of FAM. I know he had a Christmas giveaway. I know he got the kids to dance for Diddy. I don't know if it ever made it to Diddy. I think it did. But listen, guys, I have no connection with FAM at all. I never had any connection with FAM whatsoever. But I know a lot of my friends do, and they support FAM. And I'm not here to bully or badger or belittle or berate anybody. I'm not here to do that. I'm just making this known. That way, if something does come up where someone can actually prove wrongdoing with evidence, then you can't say that, oh, Jared Fuller didn't say anything about that. I wonder why. Well, here I am this week talking about it. So just to get that out of the way, and to any of my friends who are watching this, and if you're friends with FAM, anybody from FAM, or if you're friends with Milk Tyson, I'm not here to get you upset. I'm not here to cause a rift. I don't want you to think that I'm against Milk Tyson or FAM, because I'm not necessarily with FAM or Milk Tyson. I'm not necessarily for or against them. I haven't given my position, and I wish to remain neutral about this at this time until such evidence has been presented and proven, and that's all I can say about that. That's all I can offer. So, because I know this is going to get shared in the exposing fake Facebook pages group, which is the most hypocritical, most benign garbage ever to exist on social media, when you have people who are too much of cowards where they can't make it public. They just need somewhere to secretly gossip about people that they disagree with. Just like I know this video is going to get shared in the group. Hi. I said hello last week. I greeted you last week. So again, hello. Hello. It's Jared Fuller. They call me Jared Bear. But anyway, guys, that's what I wanted to talk about, and I hope it's not true. For the sake of the families and for the sake of Milk Tyson. I want to believe that there's good people in the world. I don't like to imagine a world where we have people who are being fraudulent and they're using their nonprofit organizations to fund their own lifestyles. Well, good morning, sir. I mean, because if I really and truly felt that way, and maybe it is the case, maybe it'll come out later on where, you know what, it is the case where he's been using this. But either way, the truth is going to come out. But if I really and truly felt that way about every CEO of a nonprofit organization, then I would have to talk about that every week. I would have to put each and every nonprofit organization in the spotlight every Sunday to say, this person is using such and such nonprofit organization to fund their own lifestyle. I don't really and truly believe that. I don't think that at all. Because it would take evidence. I know, I agree. It would take evidence to convince me that that is the case. So, not all of them are like that. I don't believe every nonprofit organization is like that. However, I wouldn't donate to the ACS. Just saying. But anyway, I think we're going to be joined by Dad, unless he's just grunting to get comfortable, because he did fall back asleep. I can hear him snoring under the blankets. Amy, she's in her bedroom, camping out in there. So, yeah, my Valentine's Day was all right. I just stayed home, cooked a meal, threw some stuff together, and it didn't taste bad. It was actually pretty good. I do have an uncle who is in the hospital, and sadly, he may not be around much longer. It's my dad's uncle. He's on a machine. His lungs are pretty much gone. And he's on a machine in Owasso at the hospital. I was told, and I want to get this accurate, but I was told that if he's on the machine, he might survive for a month, and if they take him off the machine, he'll be gone within 24 hours. That's what I was told. I'm open to correction if that is incorrect information. So that's my uncle. It'd be my great uncle. It'd be Dad's uncle. So it's another funeral coming up that I'm not looking forward to, and I feel really awful about, any family member who's in a bad way and they're, in a moribund state and we're about to lose them. It's just really sad. I've been thinking about this all week. I wasn't particularly close with this uncle, but he is an uncle that I've shared lots of laughter with. As a matter of fact, it was the uncle that's in the hospital and another uncle of mine. When I used to smoke marijuana, we actually passed around a joint. And we laughed, and and it was laughing over stupid shit that, you wouldn't laugh about under any normative circumstance. But when you're high, nothing seems normal. Just ask Amy. She smokes marijuana. She'll tell you. But she's legal, so, she's got the card, and it's legal. But yeah, I passed around a joint with my uncles, and we stood outside and we're just laughing, giggling at stupid shit. And that's one lasting memory that I will have of my uncle. And it just really sucks. It really sucks. And his brother, my other uncle, I heard that he has hospice coming in, which is never a good thing. So it's like, ugh. 2020 is crashing down on us really, really super hard. And we're only in February. I'm afraid to see what the rest of the year has in store. But, that's life. We all got to go sometime. I know it's a cliche that people just throw out there to see if it'll stick, to see if it'll resonate, which in reality, yes, we all have to die sometime, but it doesn't make the situation any better. It doesn't lighten the load of anxiety or depression. It doesn't make anything better. It's just a temporary bandage that doesn't stick very well. You know, when my mom, she lives quite a distance away from me. She lives on the other side of Mount Pleasant, Michigan, home of Central Michigan University. She lives on the other side of Mount Pleasant, and it's quite a drive up there. Now, I don't have a vehicle. I can't drive my van anymore because of the broken flywheel. So if I can't make it up there to visit with her where she's staying at now, I worry because I know her health isn't the greatest, and she's the last surviving child of my grandmother. Her brother, my Uncle Rick, that I mentioned at the top of the video, he had a 66th birthday yesterday. If he would have been alive, he would have been 66. That was her last surviving sibling. And now it's just my mom. Out of all the kids, my mom is the only kid from my grandma who's still around. And in the back of my mind, it worries me. I'm really scared. I don't want to lose my mom. If something's going on with my mom that I'm not there physically to know what's going on, that scares the living hell out of me. I'm not ready to lose my parents. You know, I can't. I know it's going to happen someday. It's unavoidable. It's inevitable. Death is inevitable. You're going to die eventually. You're going to lose your loved ones and your family and friends. Absolutely. But I'm not prepared to lose my parents because they instill values into you from a young age. My parents did. That you should always be loving and kind and caring and accepting of other people. And for the most part, that's what I've tried to implement. When I talked about childhood cancer, I've been talking about it since 2013. I always applied the values that my parents instilled in me into my advocacy when I called myself an advocate. And you can't make people stay. No matter how much you love a person, no matter how much you wish the best for them, no matter how many wonderful conversations you've had with them in video chat or on social media, whatever, no matter how good you are to people, you can't make them stay. And that is a very bitter pill to swallow. And I'm not ready to lose my parents. I'm not prepared for that. And it scares me. It scares me a lot, actually. Because I live with my dad, you know, and I can't picture it. I can't imagine my life without my parents because I am who I am today because of my parents. They taught me everything that I know now, and I may potentially have taught them some things that they didn't know before. Like last night, we were having a discussion, Dad and I were having a discussion about flat Earth. People believe that the Earth is flat. It's not. Sorry, it's not flat. I was watching this debate in a YouTube video last night, and I didn't know that this was really a big deal. I didn't know this was as serious as it is, but people believe that we live on a flat Earth. It's like you honestly think that we are surfing through space and time on a hubcap. I'm sorry, we have evidence to show that the Earth is an oblate spheroid. It is majorly round. It's a sphere. It's round. And the curvature of the Earth goes for millions of miles, it seems. I don't know the exact number, so maybe I'm exaggerating, but the curvature of the Earth is humongous. It is gigantic. There's no way we live on a flat Earth. In fact, there is a satellite that orbits the Earth, and it takes high-resolution pictures of the planet. There's no way that this planet is flat. There's no way. There's evidence showing that it's an oblate spheroid. Sorry, flat earthers or flatists or whatever you call yourself. Your logic doesn't hold up because we have evidence showing that the Earth is actually round. It is a sphere. But I was watching the video, and it was a debate here on YouTube. It's like people actually debate this kind of stuff. Like people actually think that the earth is flat? And I thought it was just bullshit at first, but it's like, wow, I guess people really and truly do think that way. Amy's joining me off camera, by the way, now. Hello. Did you hear me talk about weed?
Yeah.
I was hoping you would have.
Oh, yeah.
But
that, maybe Dad is.
yeah, he's awake. So Dad learned something last night. The point that I was trying to get was that my dad learned something last night. Because when you do research and you find things out, now we have Google, we have access to the most information today than we've ever had before, but somehow people are still uneducated about so many things. They look at something that has been factually proven with evidence and logic and critical thinking. They look at that and they write it off as a conspiracy. Why? Because it doesn't fit their narrative. It doesn't suit their delusion. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but this has been demonstrably proven with evidence. I'm sorry that your feelings don't match the evidence, but nobody cares about your feelings. I don't care that you feel that the earth is a flat earth. I'm sorry that you feel that way, but nobody cares how you feel. The evidence is showing something different, and if you choose to believe the opposite of what's actually factually been proven and demonstrated with evidence, if you believe the opposite of that, that's just ignorance. And there's nothing more to it than that. And that goes for anything else. It's not just flat earth. It's everything else to do that requires evidence, which is what I talk about seemingly ad nauseum every week. If you have evidence for something, prove it. If you're going to make a claim, have your evidence ready. Have all your shit together before you make a claim, because, you know, and this is why, I don't know, Amy, if you ever noticed, like because we watch court shows. We like to watch Judge Judy, The People's Court, Judge Mathis, Hot Bench. We watch all of these court television shows, which I love. I love watching court TV shows. They demand evidence to make a case. Because if you're making a claim, you have to have the evidence to back up your claim so a judge can look at it, a judge can analyze it, and then make a judgment based on their findings. It's no different than science. Scientists do the research, they dig up evidence, they look for something of substance, so that way when they get their observations, they can record their observations, pass it on for peer review, so that way they can come to an agreement in the scientific community, and if they can all agree on something and if they come to the same conclusion, then they pass that information down to the scholars, so that way the information that the scientists find gets printed in the textbooks in colleges and universities and high schools and things like that, which in turn teaches the students, so they learn something. They're not just making shit up. They're not pulling shit out of their asses all the time, or any time. That's what science is. When you watch a court television show, the judge says, "I'm going to need to see some proof of that, sir. You got any evidence for that, ma'am?" Because you can't just go by what someone says willy-dilly-nilly. You know, you got to be able to make your case. And I don't want to misrepresent science or scientists, so I have to be very careful on how I phrase things. But that scientists aren't making shit up ever. Like, I don't ever see that happening. I don't see that as something that's actually happening. They go by what they find.
No, I've always wondered, with them sending the NASA sending up the thing to the moon.
The space shuttle?
Yeah, the space shuttle to the moon. You never hear, have they ever found anything up there yet? In the moon?
Well, we were on the moon. Back in 1969,
Yeah.
man walked on the moon.
Yeah.
And people think that is a conspiracy. No, it's not. No, it's not. We have evidence for that. It's not. You can't make that shit up. But go ahead.
The thing I'm saying is, like, they land on Mars to try to.
Well, that's Mars. It's not the moon.
Or, yeah, the moon. I mean, they land on the moon and say that they're gonna get samples of it and bring it back, whatever.
Yeah.
You don't hear anything about those samples after they come back.
Or if they do talk about it, we just don't watch the news that day.
Something.
Yeah. I'm sure, I mean, what, it's like, what benefit would a scientist have in lying about the Earth being flat?
Right.
Or round or whatever? What benefit do they get from that?
Nothing really.
They made an observation.
Yeah.
They found that the Earth is round. That mystery was uncovered and unlocked years ago, centuries, ages ago.
Yeah, they're saying they're still finding.
People are convinced that the Earth is flat, like a hubcap or a frisbee or a pizza pan kind of a thing. People are convinced. I don't know what would convince them, because there's no
proof.
There's no evidence to suggest that the Earth is flat, because the ground is flat. At the surface, yes, where we're sitting or where we're standing, yes, the surface is flat, yes. But that's like if you take one, okay, Amy, here's an idea. You take one of those stress balls, right? The ball that you squeeze when you're stressed. Put a little flea on there. Put a flea from a dog on that, because to them that's huge. That stressor ball, which is just little to us, may be gigantic to a flea. That flea could potentially think that it's walking on a flat surface all the time, when in fact it's a big round ball. It may be flat at the surface where they're standing or sitting, whatever. But the curvature goes on and on and on and on. You're not going to know it anyway. By the way, we're not fleas. I'm just saying, well, maybe compared to the Earth, we are fleas. Maybe we're like a bad case of the fleas. Like George Carlin had said in his stand-up routine, maybe we're just a bad case of the fleas to the planet.
Or we're just an ant, a real small ant on the ground.
Yeah. I would go with flea, because fleas are much smaller than ants.
Yeah.
But I don't know, guys. When there's evidence to demonstrate something, and if you go against what the evidence is showing, that's just willful ignorance. Like I don't know.
Right.
It's hard to reason with unreasonable people. You know, like I don't understand. But anyway, enough on that subject. Tomorrow is President's Day, so no mail delivery tomorrow. Well, it's Sunday. We never get mail on Sunday. Unless something's going on that I don't know about. Oh, a conspiracy. There's mail on Sunday? I don't think so.
Only in my world.
Yeah. I don't know what's happening this week. Today's the 16th. 70. I don't know if anything's happening this week, to be honest with you.
I have a doctor's appointment, I think, this week.
Huh?
I gotta call the hand specialist and get it.
All these appointments. And they think, the thing is too, and I understand Dad's point, they think you're made of money that you can just afford to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I mean, yeah, it's Owasso. It's not incredibly far away, but it takes gas. And when you make short trips, you burn gas quicker. So I understand Dad's frustration, because, it's like, shit, I don't always have the money for gas to be going back and forth. And that's why he says, can't you get it on the same day, or can't you squeeze it in on the same day? I understand.
It doesn't always work that way.
Right, but I
wished it would.
I understand where he's coming from, though, because it's like, I'm right here. Why do I have to come back again and again and again and again?
Yeah.
No, I get it. I understand what he's saying. Me, I hardly ever have appointments.
At least you know your mom and dad took care of you when you were younger, really good.
Well, I mean,
Besides when you were in the hospital.
well, I mean, cancer is not something you plan.
Right.
No parent ever thinks that their kids are going to be sick, terminally sick, or in my case,
Well, the reason why I say that, Jared, is because my parents didn't take care of me.
I know.
Now I'm paying for it.
Yeah.
In the end.
I know. We had that discussion, by the way. That's why I say I know, because we've had that discussion. But there are some things that you just cannot plan. Like that's not ordained. Like when I was born, I wasn't planning on being. You don't plan to be sick. You would, in your case, you would expect your parents to be responsible enough to do the right thing by caring for their child, not neglecting their child, and just to brush off their health or their well-being and just sweep it under the rug. No big deal. Well, it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
It is a huge deal.
Yeah, because by the time you're in, your like 40s or whatever.
Yeah.
Your body is so messed up in
Yeah.
your immune system and everything.
And the thing is, like with me when I had cancer, my parents, mom and dad, had to sign all kinds of consent forms. Legally, by law, you have to.
Right.
And there are some parents, I remember seeing this on Facebook. Oh, I had to sign all these paperwork. I had to sign all these papers. So much paperwork I had to sign. Yeah, it's called liability, because if something should happen to your child in treatment, you can't sue the hospital. That's what that means, that you're giving them permission. Well, it's basically giving them permission. Like my mom and dad had to sign a consent form for me to get chemo and radiation. In other words, we're giving you permission to pump this poison through our baby. But if something should happen to our kid, whether it be from the disease or the treatment itself where it ends up killing him, we can't sue you. Just like with we talk like a tubal, I think is what it is, right?
Tubal ligation,
yeah. You have to sign a paper.
Any surgery, you got to sign.
Yeah.
Paper.
Yeah. Where if those tubes come undone, hey, you can't come back on us. Yeah. Well, cancer is much, much different than tubal ligation, but it's
But
you still have to sign a paper.
Yeah. And with a tubal ligation, you got a certain period you got to wait before.
Right. But with cancer, it's now or never.
Yeah.
You got to agree to this, or, because either way, because then if you don't get the treatment, there's a chance that the hospital could get you for
Neglect.
failure to care for your child. So either way, you're fucked.
Neglect and abuse.
Yeah. So, I mean, well, it would be neglect or negligence or something like that. I don't know that. Maybe I'm not using the right terms, but failure to care for your child or something like that. I don't know the word, but
I don't remember anymore. I try to forget it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, here it is, throwing like a hot potato, think fast, that's childhood cancer. And, that's how that ball rolls. You have to sign consent forms and all that stuff. Now, the last time I saw Dr. Scott, he had my folder, big yellow folder. It's got all my paperwork in it. Pathology reports, regional reports, just all the information that I was kind of curious about, like how much of each individual chemo I had taken over the course of my stay in the hospital, which I think was like only 6 months, but it was 6 months of my life that's affecting me even 31 years later. So, for anybody to say, well, childhood cancer can't possibly be a part of your life today, you would be sorely wrong and miserably confused, because it's always going to be a part of my life, regardless if I'm in treatment or out. That's just a part of what I have to live with for the rest of my life, after effects from chemo, and that's what most children have to live with for the remainder of their lives. All the way well into adulthood, this is what you got, this is what you can expect, or you may not. It just depends on the person, because every person and every case is different, which I've pointed out any number of times. But, so yeah, y'all notice I had to put a little disclaimer at the beginning of the video.
Oops.
Holy moly.
Sorry, everybody.
I had to put a disclaimer at the beginning of the video. Dad and I had talked about this last week, where I might, have to put a disclaimer at the beginning of the video saying that this video may contain vulgar or explicit language because children might be watching. Here's an idea. Don't let your kids watch. If me saying the word fuck is something that's going to bother you, or if it's a word that you don't want your kids hearing, well, maybe you should be a little more responsible and monitor what your children are watching on YouTube. The onus is on you. It's not on me. But, we have these laws now. Like, I have to go by it's called the COPPA law. And many of you who are YouTube users, creators, you're familiar with the COPPA law now. It's about protecting children and all that. So you have to bleep out swear word. Well, is this video meant for kids? Is it not meant for kids? I don't know. Some of them are, some of them aren't. But I think I have my settings to where I can review as to whether or not is this particular video suitable for kids, is this particular video not suitable for kids. I think that's how I got my account set up. But either way, this idea that I'm being involuntarily deputized to protect the ears of kids because Jared Fuller might utter the fuck word at some point in his video is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know. I don't have anything against protecting kids. That's not the ridiculous part. The ridiculous part is that I have to censor myself because the kids might be watching. Well, it shouldn't be on my lap to make sure that your kids are watching child-friendly content. That's not my issue. That is your issue as a parent, to make sure that your kids don't hear something that may potentially be inappropriate or may not be inappropriate. It's not my job to make those decisions. They're not my kids. They're your kids. You don't seem to have a problem with this in any other aspect, believing shit for no good reason anyway. So why should YouTube videos be any different than anything else? That's my position on that. And it got quiet over there. No, she's watching something on her phone. That's okay. I'm just rambling anyway.
I'm not feeling good either.
Not feeling well.
No, my sinuses are all messed up.
Yeah, my sinuses were a little messed up this morning too. Like, I woke up congested and
I'm all stuffed.
I blow my nose and everything, and it's like, ugh. It is allergy season here in the state of Michigan, because we're currently on a temperature swing. This Saturday, it's supposed to be in the 40s. It's going to warm up again. And yeah, that really wreaks havoc on allergies. People have the sinus pressure and the congestion, and the temperature swing is really going to make things problematic for us.
And they say allergies are low right now. Yeah, right.
Maybe in your perfect little world, in your perfect privileged little world, maybe so, but not for all of us. No. So I think I pretty much covered everything in this week's Sunday video update. I think Dad is, well, I was going to say maybe Dad was just now getting up. Or not. That's okay. Either way, it doesn't matter. He'll probably just sleep. It's already, I don't even know what time it is.
12:50.
It's 10:52.
Oh, 10.
10:52. It's going on 11 o'clock. I've been here for about 50 minutes, which is pretty good. Been here for a little under an hour already, which doesn't seem like it. The hour just seems to fly by so quickly.
Yeah. You don't realize it.
No. And it's when you get talking about things and when you share your position on things and you talk openly about whatever, time just kind of flies by. I've shared my position on any number of things. But that's what I do. I just like to share my thoughts and opinions with people. And you know, there's people who like to watch my videos. I have a friend, a buddy out in Kansas. He texts me every so often, or he'll message me on Messenger, and he'll, yeah, I dig your videos, man. I love watching your videos. I listen to your videos every week. And to that effect, I say thank you. And I try to deliver content that won't be a snooze fest. But, you know, I can't please everybody. I only do what I think is right, or what I feel is right in my own heart. And, you know, I talk about it. So how was your week?
Mine, all right.
Valentine's Day was kind of...
It went okay for me.
You know, I actually had a...
I've had better, but
I actually...
it was rough this year.
It was rough. It sucks when you don't have money.
Yeah.
When you're broke. That's what makes it rough.
But just that box of candy that Dad got me was good enough.
You know, and of course, me being single, I didn't let it really bother me this year.
I noticed that.
Like last year, I was sulking in depression, and it's like, oh no, I'm never gonna find anybody, and I feel terrible because I feel alone and single, and well, my feelings about that have kind of shifted, which is why it didn't really bother me as much as it has in years past. And that is because I have learned to become comfortable with either situation. Being single or not, I'm comfortable with it. I don't mind being single because I enjoy my freedom. I enjoy the time I have to myself. I can go for walks. I can go for a ride if I have a running vehicle, which hasn't been the case lately. I can do things. I have time to do things that I want to do. I can travel. I can, meet up with friends. I can go out and have fun. Sure. The single life isn't so bad. I've learned to enjoy it. On the flip side of the token, would I like somebody? Sure. I love to be with a woman. You know, I'd love to have a girlfriend, someone that I can spend time with and do the things that I would normally or typically do being a single guy. I like to travel and go out to eat and, someone to settle down with. You know, I'm going to be 34 in July, and I still don't have a woman.
You know what?
But it's not.
Rush it.
Don't rush it. I'm
Yeah.
not 17 anymore.
I understand that, but
It would make sense because you told me that when I was 17. We're past that now. I'm not 17 anymore. Time's a ticking. I'm gonna be 34 in July, and it's like, something's got to give now because.
if not,
But if not, I'm happy.
future.
I'm happy being single. I'm happy being with somebody. I'm happy being single. Either way, I've learned to become comfortable with that.
Yeah.
And that's the point that I was trying to make. So Valentine's Day really didn't affect me as it has in years past, because I let it get to me then, not so much now. Sneeze coming. Seems like I sneeze. Every time I do my Sunday videos, I sneeze right in the middle of the video.
But for Valentine's Day,
Yeah.
I went. It was early, but I ended up going and getting you, Dad, and myself
Uh-huh.
a box of candy.
Yeah.
And then Dad the other day surprised me with a balloon and candy. Or no, candy. And I got him a balloon also.
And see, I don't expect anything for Valentine's Day. I know that, you and Dad, you guys are the couple. You should be gifting each other on Valentine's Day. Don't worry about me. I'm fine.
He felt bad because he couldn't do anything with me.
I know, and we were talking about it. He says, man, I wish I had the money, I could do more with Amy. I said, well, Dad, money's tight. We just paid property taxes on Valentine's Day, for winter. We had to pay them.
Yeah.
We didn't have a choice. We had to pay the taxes. And
I know. And like I told him, I said, you know what? Next year may be different.
yeah, I mean, we still have Sweetest Day too this year.
Yeah.
So I think Sweetest Day is just like a second chance. If you miss Valentine's Day, wait for Sweetest Day.
Yeah.
You'll get another chance, or your anniversary, which already passed.
Yeah. Yeah, we ain't got one till New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And
It's like, well, if you miss Valentine's Day,
I think it'll be 19 years this year.
yeah,
New Year's, yeah.
it's
Well, we were together before New Year's. It's just we can't remember.
20 years goes by quick.
Yeah.
Because I was looking back.
Well, that and we were just friends at first.
Yeah. Well, I was looking back through some of my old journals that I had written from, like, the earliest days of writing journals, 99, 2000. And it's like, wow, that was happening then. Like, everybody was freaked out about Y2K, and all the computers and lights were going to go out, the blackout, and the computers were going to stop operating, and it's like, wow, people were actually afraid. And we've been having these recurring, well, the earth is going to end, the world is going to come to end in 2012, and blah, blah, blah. It's 2020. What's
Yeah.
if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. You're not going to know anyway. You're not going to have any knowledge of that. You're not going to know when it happens, because it's going to happen so quick.
Just like when they did the Eiffel Tower,
Yeah.
bomb that.
Yeah. It's,
But no one knew.
but the thing is that the earth, I mean, when you look back, like I did, I reflect through my old journals every now and then. I go back and see, okay, yeah, this is what I was doing when I was 16, 17 years old. Yeah, Dad's laughing. He knows what I did when I was 16, 17. But
He's been doing that all morning.
he laughs in his sleep.
Yeah.
It's, when I look back on what I was doing when I was 16 and 17 years old, this is what I love about keeping a journal. When I was 16, 17 years old, I was doing some really crazy shit. Like, I was a rebel. Like, I didn't care what anybody thought. And I just did my own thing. I wanted to fight all the time. I remember having my first 40. Big bottle of Budweiser. I remember all kinds of things when I was a teenager. But now that I'm in my 30s, I've grown up a lot. Now I'm just kind of mellow. Like, I just want to live my life. I just want to love people who love me. I want to be surrounded by people who love me. I want to be around people who are positive and people who are not dragging me down emotionally. I want to be around people like that. Now, yeah, I was in a deep depression last year where I was having suicidal thoughts, and I just didn't want to be here anymore. I felt worthless and hopeless, of course. But I had to pick myself up. Yeah, I had to pick myself up, and I had to convince myself, I had to tell myself, there's people out there who really and truly still love me for me. They love me for the person I am instead of the person that I'm not. And depression is a brutally tough thing to break through, especially when you are at the point where you just don't give a shit and you want to end it. I've been there, and it sucks. What's that?
I said I've been there.
It's terrible. It really sucks. And it's scary. Because you feel like you're just not worthy to people. You feel like you don't have a purpose in the world. But I'm at the point now where, you know, and I had written something in my journal about this last night, because I did a lot of writing last night. And one of the things that still kind of gets me down, it makes me depressed, it makes me sad, it's the fact that no matter how much you love somebody or how much you care about somebody, they can still walk out of your life. They still leave. Because they listen to gobbledygook, or they just get tired of you. They grow tired of being friends with you.
Or they get tired of life altogether and just don't know how to handle it.
Yeah, they get tired of life itself. But in my case, usually it's people who, they listen to talk all the time on social media. And they use social media as a way to judge my character. Which is wrong, and it's really disappointing, because we've done video, there's people that I've done video chats with, and we've shared laughter, we've shared deep thought and conversation, and suddenly one day they cut off ties with me because of what somebody on Facebook said. The people on Facebook don't even know half the shit that we've discussed in video chat. We've had those personal, deep conversations. And it's like you're going to let a bunch of people who have no life, who sit behind a screen all day long, fill your head with a bunch of shit about me when we've already had personal, deep, meaningful conversations. You're going to let those people determine your friendship with me? And you've never spoken to these people, ever? That's what I find to be so heartbreaking and just shitty. This idea that these people have nothing better to do with their time than sit around and drum up a bunch of bullshit that's not true about people that they don't like. Now, and I did mention Milk Tyson at the top of the video. It's not that I don't like Milk Tyson. I've never spoken to the guy, maybe once. And again, that was through email. I don't know if it was actually him or if it was someone who managed his email. I don't know. I don't have anything personal to say about Milk Tyson because I don't know him. And I'm not going to come on here badgering or belittling or defaming him. But I come on here saying this is what I know because he has a nonprofit organization which serves the public. These are just allegations that I shared with you, that I've received from other people. I'm not saying that this is true. This is not ironclad truth. It's not evidence of him actually doing something, but the fact that people sent me screenshots of things that regard him, or this was a claim that was being made about him. Well, that's just a claim. The screenshot is evidence of the claim. It doesn't necessarily mean that I believe that. And I'm trying desperately and ever so hard to not fall into this trap of intellectual dishonesty. Well, a bunch of people said it, so it must be true. I'm going by a number of people. I'm going by ad populum. this appeal to popularity just doesn't cut it for me. You got to show something more than just a he said, she said kind of a thing. And this is where I lose people, because they don't know how to think logically and critically about things. They are irrational in making their decisions based on the hearsay, the he said, she said, when they don't know both sides of a story. Now, I don't know both sides of the story about Mike Tyson. And I'm not making any proclamations that, hey, this is true because I received the screenshots. I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying this is what I've received. And if that is the case, if it comes out to where the things that he has done is true and you have evidence to support the claim, then I would encourage you to seek comeuppance for that. Now, I'm not going to sit here and cut the guy down and say he's this, he's that, whatever. Because I've also saw those screenshots where people are just making abrasive comments about the guy. I'm not going to sit here and do that. I really don't know him. The only discrepancy that I would have, that I have seen, is that he's doing what he's doing to make himself look good. And that's where I have a personal problem with that. But anything else, I have not seen evidence of anything. And I'm not defending the guy, and I'm not against the guy, and I'm not taking sides. I'm not for him, I'm not against him. I'm just saying that I'm neutral, and that's the way it's going to have to be until something comes out. And that's how it should be. That's how it should be, because when you're thrown into a position, which, by the way, I don't put people in the middle of my problems. Other people put my friends in the middle of a problem. Other people burn my bridges, which is bullshit. But anyway, when you have conflicting stories where you have this person's claiming this and this person over here is saying, no, that's not true. If you're in the middle of that, you have to remain neutral. Now, I think it was a couple weeks ago I had read a screenshot from someone who made some really crass remarks and statements about me. And, this Jared Fuller guy, blah, 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 blah. We've been informed to block him. Can you not think for yourselves? Can you not actually come to me in an email and have a discussion? Don't fake your fucking name. Don't come up with some bullshit name just to make a point. Come to me as yourself, and let's have a civil conversation. Let's discuss things. We don't have to resort to name calling. I'm not going to do that. I'm not interested in doing that. I just want to know, why would you believe something for no good reason? And I scratch my head now asking that question. Why would you believe something when you have no reason? Why would you think I'm a bad person? And I've done everything. Amy knows this. I've done everything. I've thrown down the gauntlet, and I've put up numbers to the Michigan State Police. I put up numbers to numerous times. Time and time again, I put up the number to the Michigan State Police. What do you want, Cat?
In the bedroom.
So you're going to sit up there and make noise when I'm trying to talk? Yeah? Shut up. I've thrown down the gauntlet. And I'm not running. I'm not running from anything or anybody. And again, another week, nothing's happened. So I know, because I haven't done anything. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. She's very loud. Her meows are very just noisy. Yes, she does. But that's good. Like, if she's got to go outside, she'll really loud. Okay. All right. I'm going to let you out. Oh, Mama. Her name's Patches, but we call her Mama Kitty.
Yeah, ever since she had her first litter.
Yep, and her only litter. But anyway, I've rambled a lot this week, but that's okay. I got some things off my chest. I've been here for an hour and 10 minutes. Give or take, about an hour and 10 minutes.
Right.
What's that?
I said it's going to take all day to upload.
Yeah, it's going to take all day to upload. But I think I've covered all the bases for this week. I don't know what's happening this week. In my life, anyway, I have no idea. I never make plans because,
We don't either.
you know, something else comes up or, you know, we just don't make plans.
Day by day.
Yep, that's how we do it, day by day. And I did mention my uncle. He's not doing well. I'm not looking forward to the funeral. But it's inevitable. If he stays on the machine, there's a chance he may live for a month. But if he's taken off the machine, he'll be gone within 24 hours. Because his lungs are like completely gone. And one of my uncles that I love I love all my family dearly. You know, I don't single anybody out. There's relatives that I may not stand most of the time. I can't stand to be around them or to be in their presence. But other than that, I mean, family's family, and you know, he's my uncle, and he's not one of those people that I couldn't stand. I love being around him, and he was a funny guy. He's been here at my house more than once, and it's a funeral that I'm not looking forward to going to. But anyway, we're going to close the video here. There's a lot I have to get to today. I don't know what's in store for the week, but anyway, thank you for watching another installment of the Sunday Video Update. My name is Jared Fuller. Amy, any last words?
No, peace out, be safe as you traveling.
Dad, he's still asleep. I don't know what happened. The camera stopped recording on its own. I don't know. Maybe some kind of a bug going on. I hope not. It's a $50 webcam. Hopefully it'll get resolved, the issue, whatever issue there is. I don't know. It's stopped right in the middle of a sentence, so I had to edit the end piece on. But anyway, I love you guys, and I will see you next week, Sunday, February 23rd, 2020. Hopefully this issue won't happen next week. I can't make any guarantees, but we'll hope. We'll hope for a good video. Anyway, much love. Gotta run. Have a good one, guys. Take care. Peace out.